Very good afternoon to all participants in the second day post-lunch session. I feel happy to introduce the renowned personality Dr. Suresh Jain sir, who is basically from the Jodhpur, Rajasthan. Dr. Suresh Jain sir is presently working as a professor and vice principal with the B Pharmacy College, Kakanpur, Rampura. He has completed his BPharm and MPharm from the Lachu Memorial College of Pharmacy, which is the NAC accredited college, Jodhpur, and he has completed his PhD from the Jodhpur National University, Jodhpur, Rajasthan. He is having more than 17 years of the teaching and industrial experience. He has guided more than 30 MPharm students under his supervision. He has published 30 national and international publications in the various journal with a well impact factor. He is also reviewer of the various national and international journal of the reputed journal like Arabian Journal of Chemistry, elsewhere, current pharmaceutical analysis, and many more. He has 7 national and international books under his credit. He has also 13 registered copyrights under MHRD Government of India. He is the recipient of the DST and AICT grant of more than 20 lakhs rupees. He has been awarded with the Best Research Award, BV Patel Award, Best Academician Award, Best Achiever Awards for outstanding teaching and research, and many more by various agencies of reputed for his academic and research contribution. He has organized many national and international conferences, workshops, and faculty development program and refresher course under his knee supervision. He has participated and presented research paper in many national and international conferences. He has also delivered his expert talk in many national and international conferences. His area of research interest in analytical and bioanalytical method development and validation. He is a life member of APTI, IPA, and many other professional bodies. Currently, Sir has been awarded with the India's one of the most prestigious award, Rashtriya Shikshan Gaurav Puraskar 2021 award, under the banner of Center of Education Growth and Research by the Professor K.K. Agrawal, Chairman, National Board of Accreditation, Professor Neeraj Saxena, Advisor of the Institutional Development AICT, and Dr. Ramesh Sir, Advisor and Policy and Planning of the AICT on 30th December of 2021. Sir, congratulations for
Thank you.
that award.
Thanks a lot.
Now session is for you, and sir, welcome you in our FDP.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Natik. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Jolly, Principal of ARCT, Dr. Natik Trivedi, who is the coordinator of this AICT sponsored Atal FDP on the theme Redesigning Pedagogy, Educating for Innovation and Fostering for Society. It is really a related theme as far as we academicians are concerned. So today, the topic of my presentation is on outcome-based education and its implementation. Let me share the screen. Is it visible to you all?
Yes, sir.
Should I start?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the topic of my presentation is outcome-based education and its implementation. It's a very related theme and the need of current academia, outcome-based education. So to understand the outcome-based education, first we should understand what is education. Education is not only the acquisition of knowledge. As per Wikipedia, education is a process of learning or acquisition of knowledge, skills, values, beliefs, and habits. So not only acquisition of knowledge, apart from this, skills, values, beliefs, habits, and the most important part, that is learning, is very much important. If we talk about the outcome is What? These are the achievements at the end of any program. Whenever any program is completed, so what is the result at the end, or what is the achievement at the end, is known as the outcome. Very important terminology, it is outcome. So in education, what and whether students learn successfully is more important than when and how they learn something. So what is the important as far as our students are concerned, that what they are learning and whether they have learned whatever expected from them is more important than how they are learning or when they are learning. So this is the concept behind outcome based education that we are going to learn in the later slides. Now there are some questions in front of you people. What do you say in life? Which is more important, destination or journey? Playing well or winning? Studying or finishing the storybook? So for all these questions, it is very much clear that people generally enjoy at the end when it finished and when we get the result out of the whole process. And the first question in life, which is more important? So the answer is destination. What is more important, playing well or the winning? We always enjoy winning. What is more important, studying or finishing the storybook? So the final, finishing the storybook, we always enjoy. So for all these questions, the answer is end. That is final achievement, and this is known as the outcome. So in education, we all are academician and involved in education. If we talk about education, so in education, the outcome is the learning. We are supposed to focus on our students. We have to take care of our students, and we have to touch some points that are my students learning. This is very much important. What are they learning? How well are they learning? What affects their learning? How much have they learned? These are the key points we as an academician should consider all the times whenever we are teaching in the classroom in our institute. So nowadays, the priority is on learning, not on teaching. What we are teaching, how we are teaching is not that much important. What is important is, are my students are learning or not? What they are learning? How well they are learning? What affects their learning, and how much have they learned? This is very much important. So, what is outcome based education? It is not what we are going to teach. It is what we learn. It is what our students are learning. So this is the concept behind outcome based education. So the outcome based education is totally student centric. That means it revolves around the students only. Teaching and learning methodology in which the course delivery assessment are planned to achieve stated objectives and outcomes. So in outcome-based education, what is our aim? What is our task? Is focus and organizing an educational system around what is essential for all the students to be able to do successfully at the end of their learning experience. What OBE, outcome based education, says that as an academician, we are supposed to organize our educational system in a way so that all students are able to do successfully at the end of their learning experiences. For OBE, a definition is given by William Spalding, who is known as paradigm pioneer of OBE. He is a leading advocate also. So as per his, outcome-based education is starting with a clear picture of what is important for students to be able to do. and then organizing curriculum, instructions, and assessment to make sure this learning ultimately happens. So as per William Spardy, OBE starts with a clear picture that students to be able to do. And as per this is the outcome which we are supposed to achieve. And focusing to this outcome, we are supposed to organize our curriculum, delivery methods, assessment technology in such a way so that learning happens among the students. Why this OBE concept came? So, to know OBE concept origin, we must know something about the old educational approach. So, what was the old educational approach? Or we can say it is still in existence. Passive learners learn whatever is taught by teachers. What is the current scenario of our educational system? That our students are passive learners. That means whatever taught to them are just learned by the students. Our educational system is totally exam driven. That means aim is just to qualify the exam and score the marks, score the credits. That is just the concept behind the students. Rote learning. So what is rote learning? Just mug up whatever given to them, memorize whatever study material they have with them, and then appear for the exam. Content-based syllabus. We talk about the syllabus, it is a fixed content-based syllabus, which is again divided in different subjects, and that syllabus is given to the students, and they are supposed to mug up, focusing to the exams, and then score the credits or marks. That's it. It is totally textbook bound. Whatever subjects are there, as per the subjects, textbook are available in the library. They are given to the students, and students are just studying those textbooks and just mugging all the materials which is there in the textbook. They are not looking beyond the textbook. They are not looking beyond the syllabus. So whatever content which is there, they are just limited to that content only, nothing else. Syllabus is totally rigid. Whatever university under which students are studying, that university is just prescribing some syllabus to the students, and that is rigid. So nobody bother about beyond the syllabus, and students do not want to study beyond the syllabus. जब कभी सिलेबस से बाहर कोई क्वेश्चन आ भी जाता है, तो always they have excuses that is this is beyond the syllabus, this is out of the syllabus, or they always request for the grievances. So they do not want to look beyond the syllabus. They are not taught in that way also. The teachers are only the source who are responsible. जो भी पढ़ाया जाता है केवल टीचर्स के थ्रू पढ़ाया जाता है, एंड टीचर्स आर ओनली द सोर्स हु आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर ऑल. मीन्स अगर स्टूडेंट्स बहुत अच्छे हैं तो हु आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल? टीचर्स आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल. अगर स्टूडेंट्स है बहुत वीक है, इफ दे आर फेलियर्स, देन ऑल्सो टीचर्स आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल, क्योंकि टीचर्स ने ही उनको पढ़ाया है और वही वो पढ़ते हैं जो उनको टीचर्स ने पढ़ाया है. बियॉन्ड दैट दे आर नॉट लुकिंग सराउंडिंग. Motivation is only dependent on personality of teacher. This is a variation from teacher to teacher. Some teachers are there who always motivate during the classes, but other teachers always rigid towards syllabus. They always focus how to complete the syllabus, nothing else. So the motivation is only dependent on personality of teacher. So students are motivated, but with a little extent when they face that kind of teacher only. Emphasis on what teachers hopes to achieve. Content placed into a rigid time frame. Whatever syllabus given to the students, that also should be completed with a rigid time frame. If we talk about a semester, they are supposed to complete the whole syllabus within 3 to 4 months. So that is the rigid time period. So whatever or how much syllabus is given, the timing will be fixed for all kind of syllabus, and within that time limit only they are supposed to complete syllabus. If they are thorough with that content or not, people are not bothered about that. So that is the very big limitation of our old educational system. The curriculum development process, as I told, curriculum or syllabus is generally prescribed by the university itself. So that is not open for public comment. No public suggestions. No stakeholder suggestions are taken for the improvement of syllabus. If they are invited, they are not implemented. So the old dated curriculum are generally followed as far as old educational approach is there. So this was something about the old educational approach. If we talk about our field of pharmacy, how this old educational concept is there in pharmacy. So in pharmacy also the pharmacy curricula are framed with the topics without providing sufficient integration of these topics or relating them to industrial practice. What is the demand of industries, pharma industries, that is not related, that is not correlated with the topics given in the pharmacy curricula. The current program do not provide sufficient design experiences to the students. If we look into the syllabus, if we look into the syllabus of any program, either it is B Form or higher program like M Form and all, it does not provide sufficient design experiences or design experiments to the students, which is the current need of pharma industries. Pharma graduates still lack communication skills and teamwork experiences because they are not taught in that manner. And programs need to incorporate more opportunities for students to develop these because we all are focusing to the content or syllabus only. In that we are not teaching our students how to work in a team, how to go for group work and all. So our graduates are lacking communication skills and also teamwork experiences. The program need to develop more awareness among students of the social, environmental, economic and legal issues. These particular parts are lacking in our syllabus. So these parts are not covered during the courses or during the programs when students are involved in that. But if we see towards these topics, these are very prominent topics and these are the part of reality of modern pharmaceutical practice. Existing faculty lack practical experiences because they are not given that much exposure, hence are not able to adequately relate theory to practice or provide practical experiences to students also. The present promotion system, if we talk about the promotion of teachers in an educational institute, the rewards are generally given to research activities and not practical experience or teaching expertise. So faculty are just concentrating on the research activities. They never bother about practical exposure to their students. There are no any innovations in the practical session and there is no teaching expertise which should be there in the academic institutes. The existing teaching and learning strategies or culture in pharmacy program is outdated and need to become more student centered. So these are many lackings in pharmacy curricula also. So now there is a new concept which emphasizes on what will learners able to do. The new concept focuses on the students to learn. It emphasizes what will learners able to do. So the capability and ability of learners are to be judged as far as new concept is concerned. How can we assess their ability to do? What content do we need to teach for learners to improve their learning? So new concept generally emphasizes on our students learning, their assessment and what material which we are giving for their improvement. The new concept, learning is very much important, and learning is the outcome. So, in new concept, outcomes are first focused, and whatever content curriculum syllabus is prepared, they are always prepared focusing to the outcome which are desirable. So, in new educational approach, it is producing active learners. So what are active learners? These are the students who involve in many activities to get overall to. So apart from the study material, they are involved in many more activities to get skill. Learners are assessed on ongoing basis. In new educational approach, not final assessment is done, but the assessment is ongoing basis. Means day-to-day assessments are there to check their critical thinking power, their reasoning power, their reflection power, and their action power. The new educational approach is an integration of knowledge, learning relevant, and it is connected to real life problems. In new educational approach, the students are given some case studies. They are given some real life problems to solve. So they are very much involved in these kind of case studies and try to resolve these problems. So they are more skilled than the old educational students. In new educational approach, it is a lecture or topic centered. Means just topics are given to the students and rest is left on the students only. Teachers are just acting as a mentor, facilitator, or trainer. They are just guiding to the students. Rest work is assigned to the students to do, to complete, to learn the desired outcomes. They may use group work, they may use teamwork to solve the case studies, and that is how they are getting better learning experiences. In new educational approach, flexible time frame is given. There is no time limit because there are a variety of students. Some excellent students are there who can learn within short period of time. But apart from this, there are so many other kind of students who are considered as slow learners. They can learn if time is given to them. So that is called as expanded opportunities or expanded time frame if given to them. So they are also capable to learn. So as far as new educational approach is considered, all students are given time. So flexible time limits are there. Only the motto is how we can make our students to learn. So that is the main concept behind the new educational approach. A new educational approach, comments from a wider community is also welcomed. Wider community means all stakeholders can be involved in framing the curriculum. So the feedback from industries, feedback from parents, feedback from employers are also invited and they are also in, included in framing the syllabus. So all the points which are required are covered in the syllabus in the topic itself. So they are getting more learning experiences using this new educational approach. Now, if we compare this outcome-based education with the traditional education, so how it is different from the traditional education is the outcome-based education is a pedagogical model that entails the restructuring of curriculum, pedagogy, and assessment practices to reflect the achievement of high-order learning. What is the concept behind OBE? to restructure the curriculum by inviting comments or feedback from all the stakeholders and thereby using the assessment practices so that students can achieve high order learning. So that is the concept behind outcome based education. It is as opposed to a mere accumulation of course credit which was there in the traditional education system. While the traditional education system focuses on what is taught, traditional education system generally focuses on what is taught by the teacher, while outcome-based education places emphasis on what is learned. So here, learning part is very much important. The traditional system is teacher-oriented, while the outcome-based education is student-centric model. In outcome-based education, our priority is on students, what they are learning. So the knowledge, skills, and attributes that students take away at the end of a program is of importance. A traditional education system relies heavily on standardized processes wherein students assemble under one roof at a particular time to be instructed by a teacher. So what is happening in the traditional education system? All the students, either they are advanced learners or slow learners, are kept in a single roof and they are then taught in a similar way. This means the effectiveness of the education system largely depend upon the application of the teacher and the knowledge base of peers. So whatever taught by the teacher are spreaded in the classroom and that is then just learned by the students of all variety. While in OBE, on the other hand, is an educational system which is built on specific outcomes. In OBE, outcomes are already decided, the outcomes are already specified, and they are just focused. So it focuses on the skill sets students to acquire following the completion of their studies. Activities in or outside the classroom are designed in a manner so as to help students achieve these outcomes. So in OBE, specific outcomes are focused. So they can be achieved in the classroom or outside the classroom. So using classroom model or out of class models, these specific outcomes should be achieved. That is the main motto behind the OBE system. So we can summarize this traditional education system and outcome-based education to this table that traditional education system, what are our or means educator practices. So traditional education system tells about educators practices only. While in OBE system, what our students have become and able to demonstrate that is of importance. In traditional education system, teaching inputs and content is generally focused, while in outcome-based education, learning is focused, that is demonstration of skills, competencies and outcomes are generally focused in the outcome-based education. In traditional education system, practice determines the outcomes. So what is the flow? First, what we are practicing, accordingly outcomes are achieved. But in OBE system, outcomes are first defined, or to achieve these outcomes, practices or methodology or strategies are designed. So automatically, whatever outcomes which we are specifying, that will ultimately be achieved in the outcome-based education. This traditional education system is totally teacher-centric, while this outcome-based education system is student-centric methodology. So why this OBE concept came in the academic institutions? So it is very much clear that in the traditional system of education, there were so many deficiencies. So to overcome those deficiencies, outcome-based education concept came into the sight. It provides students with a learning environment. If we talk about the traditional education system, so this provides students with a learning environment with a little attention to whether or not students ever learn the material. हम जो भी लर्निंग एनवायरनमेंट स्टूडेंट्स को प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं, वी नेवर बॉदर कि हमारे स्टूडेंट्स है वो क्या सीख रहे हैं और कितना सीख रहे हैं. दैट इज द बिगेस्ट डेफिशिएंसी ऑफ आवर ट्रेडिशनल एजुकेशन सिस्टम. In traditional education system, students are given grades, they are given marks, they are given ranks, and that ranks is compared to each other. So when these ranks or merits are compared, so students are just focusing how to get more ranks, how to get better ranks. So they are just mugging up the content, just following the exam pattern accordingly. They are reading and they are studying. So they are limited to that particular portion only. They never see beyond the syllabus because the whole traditional education system is exam marks driven. The graduates are not completely prepared in traditional education system for the workforce which is required by the industry. So they are not employed, they are not placed up to the extent they must be placed. And if they are placed, they are not given handsome packages because of this particular lacking. So the new concept of outcome-based education came into the sight. The lack of emphasis on soft skills. In traditional education system, very little emphasis is given on the soft skill or no attention is given on the soft skills like communication skill, interpersonal skills, analytical skills, working attitude. But when we enter into the market, when we face the practical exposure, then these skills are also very much important. So this was the lacking of traditional education system. So to overcome all these deficiencies of traditional education system, the concept of outcome-based education came into the market. So this new concept of outcome-based education focuses on what students can do or the qualities they should develop after they are taught. They are involved in restructuring of curriculum, assessment and reporting practices in education to reflect the achievement of high order learning and mastery rather than accumulation of course credit. So this system, outcome-based education system, always focus on the final outcomes, final mastery outcome. So to achieve those mastery, the curriculum is restructured in that manner, assessment is done in that manner, and practices are utilized in that manner so that students can get that particular learning outcome and they can achieve the mastery in a particular segment or in a particular program. Both structures and curricula are designed to achieve capabilities of students and qualities in students. Outcome-based education emphasizes that the student must demonstrate that they have learned the required skills and content. Whenever students, after passing their program, enter into the market, they should have that much capability so that they can demonstrate what they have learned. So if we talk about the outcome-based education approach, so the OBE is involving three segments, that is OBC, OBTL, and OBA. What is OBC? It is outcome-based curriculum. OBTL is outcome-based teaching and learning. OBA is outcome-based assessment. OBC tells what the students should be able to do. The curriculum is designed in that way that what the students should be able to do by acquiring this content of curriculum. OBTL, that is outcome-based teaching and learning, is how to make students to achieve the desired outcome. This OBTL focuses on the strategies and methodology, but should be adapted in an educational system so that our students can achieve the desired outcome. So in that manner, strategies and methodologies are incorporated in the educational system so that our students can achieve the desired outcome. OBA, that is outcome-based assessment. Now, how can we check? So this check is made through the assessment. So how to measure what the students have achieved, what they have learned. Some assessment methodology are accepted. Some assessment tools are utilized in the educational system, and this is OBA. So OBE as a whole is a combination of OBC, OBTL, and OBA. So outcome-based education focuses on outcome. It is an approach of planning, delivering, and evaluating instructions that require administrators, teachers, and students to focus their attention and efforts on the desired results of education. That is the desired outcome in terms of individual student learning. If we talk about this OBE in India and also globally, so the outcome-based methods have been adopted in education system around the world. So not only in India, around the world, it has already been adopted and at multiple levels also. In an international efforts to accept outcome-based education, the Washington Accord was created in the year 1989. So what is Washington Accord? It is an agreement to accept undergraduate degrees that were obtained using OBE methods. So whatever countries which are there in Washington Accord agreement, they will employ the students who are graduated by OBE method. So in the Washington Accord, the member countries are Australia, Canada, Taiwan, Hong Kong, India, Ireland, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, New Zealand, Russia, Singapore, South Africa, Sri Lanka, Turkey, and United Kingdom, also Pakistan, China, and the United States. In the year 2014, now India has become the permanent signatory member of the Washington Accord. Now, in India also, a graduate from India can be employed in any one of the other countries who have signed the Washington Accord if they are graduated from any institute who provides outcome-based education. So that is the opportunity given by the Washington Accord. So nowadays, many more institutes are coming forward, coming ahead, and they are adapting this outcome-based education. Then onwards, implementation of OBE in higher technical education also started in India. Not only this particular, but also some regulatory bodies are there who compel for this OBE system in the educational organization. The regulatory bodies like the National Assessment and Accreditation Council (NAAC) and National Board of Accreditation, that is NBA, are two autonomous bodies which are responsible for promoting global quality standards for technical education in India. And this NBA mandates stabilizing a culture of outcome-based education in the institutes that offering engineering courses, pharmacy courses, and management programs. So, if any institute want to go for these kind of accreditations, either NBA or NAAC accreditation, then they are supposed to adopt this outcome-based education system in their organization. Then and there only they are eligible to get accreditation. After these accreditations, reports of outcome analysis help to find gaps and carry out continuous improvement in the education system of an institute, thereby making educational system at its level based. That is how we can make the educational system a quality educational system if we adopt this outcome based education and if we go for these kind of accreditations. Now, what are the different objectives of OBE? So there are mainly two objectives behind this OBE system. This particular system focuses on students, not on teachers, and students demonstrate what they know and able to do at the end of learning experiences. So these are the objectives of OBE, and whatever strategies which are used in the OBE system, they always focus to achieve these objectives. These are the main features of OBE, that the OBE system is need driven. That means the syllabus which is designed under OBE is designed based on knowledge, skills, and attitude which we expect from a graduate. So accordingly, these particular systems are prepared. This particular curriculum is prepared. So this is need-driven system. Outcome-driven. That means every effort in OBE system is made which only focuses on the learning outcome. As I told you in my earlier slides, that outcome, the learning outcome is the main feature of outcome-based education. So first, starting with specification of the learning outcomes, means learning outcomes are firstly designed and focusing on those learning outcomes only, rest strategies are planned in the OBE system. So it is automatically outcome driven. Design down approach. In our older educational system, bottom top approach was followed, means firstly the practices were made and then outcomes were achieved. That is considered as bottom top approach. But in OBE system, design down approach is there, means firstly final outcomes are specified. What we will get after our graduations or after our graduations, that is first defined, and then practices or methodology or curriculum are designed in that manner. So this is called as design down approach. Levels of outcome. Learning objectives and outcomes are described in terms of different levels as per the Bloom's taxonomy. It is the very important feature of OBE. Bloom's taxonomy says three main domains, that is cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domain. These particular domains says about different levels, and based upon these levels, students are categorized, and accordingly, the uh, methodology is adapted so that all students can learn when they exit from the program. So these three main domains are there: cognitive, which is related to the thinking power; affective domain, which is related to the emotions; and psychomotor domain, which relate to the behavioral approach. So all these skills should be there in a student. So they are considered as a feature of OBE. In OBE, there is a shift from teaching to learning. OBE model is totally student centered. So all the arrangements which are made under this OBE are to organize students' learning activities, their group work, their continuous assessment, and their self-assessment. So it is totally shift from teaching to learning. The whole framework of OBE is holistic in its outcome focus. Students learning start at a grassroots level, but they just act as a building block and help to achieve higher level outcome. So ultimate objective behind OBEs is to achieve higher level outcome. So, and whatever methodology which we are using, they are just acting as a building blocks, and they help to achieve these higher level outcomes. So these are the main features of OBE system. This whole OBE system can be represented through a pyramid model also, and this is called as OBE pyramid model. When we look to this OBE pyramid, we can find five parameters: paradigm, purposes, premises, principles, and practices. This pyramid says one paradigm, two purposes, three premises, four principles, and five practices are there under this outcome-based education system. So what this pyramid say? One OBE paradigm. What is that? Student learning is the most important, and this is the one OBE paradigm of this OBE system. There are two purposes. What are these two purposes? The first purpose is to ensure all students must be equipped with the knowledge, competence, and qualities needed to be successful after they exit from the educational system. And the second purpose is structuring and operating institute to achieve the outcomes and maximize for the students. The first purpose is we are supposed to ensure that our students must learn. The second purpose is we are supposed to equip our organization in a manner so that our students can achieve the outcome or they can maximize the outcome. So these are the two purposes of OBE system. Three premises of OBE pyramid. What are these premises? The first premise is all students can learn and succeed, but not on same day. We should consider this. We should realize this that all students, either they are advanced learners, slow learners, weak students, they all can learn and they all can succeed, but not on the same day. So accordingly, time frames should be provided to them. Accordingly, opportunities and challenges should be provided to all the students so that all of our students can learn and succeed. So this is the first premises of the OBE pyramid. Then in the second premises, it tells that successful learning promotes even more successful learning. अगर हम इस तरीके का एनवायरनमेंट किसी वीक स्टूडेंट को देते हैं, एक टाइम फ्रेम, फ्लेक्सिबल टाइम फ्रेम देते हैं और वो भी अगर सक्सेस हो जाता है, तो ऑटोमेटिकली दिस सक्सेसफुल लर्निंग विल मोटिवेट दिस पर्टिकुलर स्टूडेंट एंड इट विल प्रमोट मोर सक्सेसफुल लर्निंग. तो ऑटोमेटिकली वो और ज्यादा सक्सेसफुल होता जाएगा. So this is the second premises of our OBE pyramid system. The third premise is the organization controls the condition that directly affect the successful learning. ये सारी चीजें अचीव कैसे हो सकती है? If our organization controls. So this is the third pillar of premises, that is our organization. So we are supposed to equip our organization in that manner to provide that type of surrounding or environment so that all of our students can achieve the high standard of outcome. There are four principles of OBE system. The first principle is clarity of focus. So there should be a clear picture of the learning a teacher want in their students to know. So outcome should be clear. सबसे पहले ही ये चीज क्लियर होनी चाहिए कि क्या हमें अचीव करना है या क्या हम एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं हमारे स्टूडेंट्स को कि वो प्रोग्राम कंप्लीट करने के बाद ये अचीव करे. So that clarity should be there. So that is the main principle of OBE system. Then expanded opportunities. We are supposed to provide expanded opportunity among our students. That is the flexible time period. That is the different methodology for a variety of students. If a teacher applies all these operational principles consistently, continuously, we are supposed to provide these facilities to our students systematically, creatively, and simultaneously in their classroom. So automatically, our students, all kind of students, can get the success. We should have high expectation for our students. We should provide a challenging environment to all our students, and we should encourage our students to engage deeply in what they want to learn. So if we are providing or we are expecting high expectations, so automatically the students will achieve these high expectations. Then the fourth principle is design down approach, that is already been taught that first we are supposed to design the outcome, then the practices are designed later on. So that is called as design down approach. Now, five practices of OBE pyramid. In the five practices which we are supposed to use in any organization system if we want that our students should achieve the higher standards of outcomes. So these are the practices that first we are supposed to define the outcomes. Then, as per the outcomes, curriculum is to be designed. Then, as per the curriculum, some instructions or methodology are to be adapted, and whatever results which we are getting should be documented properly. We should find out the gaps, and accordingly some improvement measures are to be incorporated so that we can determine the advancements. So these are the five practices of OBE pyramid. So that is how we can explain the OBE pyramid. Now, the second part of our presentation, that is implementation of outcome-based education. So there are certain steps. If we follow these steps, we can easily implement this outcome-based system in our organization. So first step is to decide the outcome. Outcomes are actually the end product or the result. The educational outcomes are clearly identified and unambiguously specified regarding the content, context, and competence. While designing the outcome, we should consider some points like program knowledge, practice-based learning and improvement, system-based practice, interpersonal and communication skills, and professionalism must be taken into consideration. So we are supposed to invite feedback from all the stakeholders, from industry, from employers, from parents, from management, from teachers, so that all feedbacks can be involved and they will be helpful in designing the outcome. So that is how outcomes are first designed. Then demonstrating the outcome. The expected outcomes, whatever we are designing, should be defined by setting some benchmarks. Some levels are to be fixed, like level 1, level 2, level 3. So whatever students are achieving through the assessment, they should be given some levels. If they are achieving a good outcome approach, then they can be given third three levels. If they are mediocre, they can be given two levels. Likewise, levels can be given. So if we are capable to identify the levels, so accordingly for each level we can make some strategy, and that is how we can make our students capable to learn whatever we expect from them. Then deciding on content and teaching strategies. After defining outcomes, we can prepare some teaching strategies accordingly so that ultimately our students can get those outcomes. So this can be implemented as a whole class model or flexible model. In whole class model, the topics of particular lecture is taught by the teacher, and in flexible model, as per the requirement of content and outcome, flexible groupings can be made. Continuous progress, technological approaches, and instructional management of study can be prepared. So that is called as flexible model. In flexible model, students are given the freedom to learn. Either they can learn in a team, they can learn through some case studies, or they can also learn by referring some reference books, some reference material, or surfing internet services on. So this is the flexible model. So by adapting whole class model or flexible models as per the requirement of outcome, we can go for this step also. And after this strategies, we can go for assessment to check what our students are learning. This OBE is driven by assessment that focuses on well-defined learning outcomes, not by other factors such as what is taught, the duration taken by the student to achieve the outcome, or which path the students take to achieve their targets. जब भी हम असेसमेंट करते हैं तो हमें केवल लर्निंग आउटकम्स को ही फोकस करना कि हमारे स्टूडेंट्स से वो आउटकम्स को अचीव कर रहे हैं या नहीं कर रहे हैं, किस तरीके से उन्होंने आउटकम को अचीव किया है. सो दैट इज नॉट द पार्ट ऑफ मॉडरेशन. So that is how we have to prepare some tools for the assessment, and that is how assessment is done under OBE. So what are these learning outcomes? So these learning outcomes which help to measure the progress of graduates are categorized in three types: program educational objectives, program outcomes, course outcomes. What are program educational objectives? These are actually the broad statement which describe the career and professional accomplishment that the program is preparing the graduates to achieve. तो प्रोग्राम एजुकेशनल ऑब्जेक्टिव्स जो बनाए जाते हैं वो किस चीज को ध्यान में रख के बनाए जाते हैं कि जब हमारा ग्रेजुएट अपनी ग्रेजुएशन के बाद में मार्केट में जाता है तो व्हाट दे आर परफॉर्मिंग आफ्टर 4 to 5 years of their graduation. So this particular objective which we expect after 4 to 5 years of their graduation are program educational objectives. What are program outcomes? These are somewhat narrower statements that describe what students are expected to know and be able to do by the time of graduation. जब उनका ग्रेजुएशन चल रहा है, if we talk about our B.Pharm course, this is 4 years course. So what we expect from our students to achieve during these 4 years is the program outcome. And what we expect that हमारा ग्रेजुएट है मार्केट में जाने के बाद में किस तरीके से परफॉर्म करे, उसका एटीट्यूड क्या रहे, उसकी स्किल्स क्या रहे, तो दैट इज प्रोग्राम एजुकेशनल ऑब्जेक्टिव्स. And what are course outcomes? These are the measurable parameters which evaluates each student's performance for each course that the students undertake in every semester. So these are very minute outcomes, course outcomes, and they are prepared as per the particular course in each semester. For better understanding of these all learning outcomes, we should go for some terminology. So what exactly course is? The course is defined as a theory, practical or theory cum practical subject which is studied in a semester. तो जो एक पर्टिकुलर सब्जेक्ट हम लोग पढ़ते हैं हमारे ग्रेजुएशन में, तो दैट इज व्हाट, दैट इज एक्चुअली अ कोर्स. So whenever we talk about course outcome, so that is prepared as per a specific subject. So from the course, from the subject, course outcomes are prepared. So the course outcomes are statements that describe significant and essential learning that learners have achieved and can reliably demonstrate at the end of a particular subject. उस particular subject से वो क्या सीख रहा है, so that outcome is called as course outcome. Here we have taken example of pharmaceutical analysis. तो एक एनालिसिस में वो क्या क्या सीख सकता है, क्या क्या आउटकम उस सब्जेक्ट को कंप्लीट करने के बाद में उसको मिलेंगे, so that particular outcomes are considered as course outcome. Program is defined as a specialization or discipline of a degree. It is interconnected arrangement of courses, co-curricular and extracurricular activities to accomplish predetermined objectives leading to the awarding of a degree. So in our case, the program is B.Pharm. B.Pharm is a whole program. इसके अंदर सारे कोर्सेज, सारे सब्जेक्ट्स भी आएंगे, को करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज भी आएंगे, एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज भी आएंगी. तो इन सबको ध्यान में रख के जो हम आउटकम्स बनाते हैं, दे आर कॉल्ड एज प्रोग्राम आउटकम्स. तो program outcomes are somewhat narrower statements that describe what students are expected to be able to do by the time of graduation. So POs are expected to be aligned closely with graduate attributes. As far as NBA is concerned, total 11 program outcomes are already being given by the NBA for our pharmacy program. Later on we will touch all these 11 program outcomes. Lastly, the program educational objectives. As I told, after graduation, after 4 to 5 years of graduation, what we expect from our graduates, these are termed as program educational objectives. So, program outcomes are during the graduation and program educational objectives are after the graduation. Lastly, the program specific outcomes. This particular specific outcomes are prepared in that particular programs where some specialization graduate programs are there. Like in engineering, BE in mechanical engineering, BE in computer engineering. In that case, specific outcomes are prepared as far as the branch is concerned. So this is not there in our case because pharmacy is a general program. So there are total 11 graduate attributes or program outcome as far as NBA is concerned for pharmacy program. That is pharmacy knowledge, planning ability, program analysis, modern tool uses, leadership skills, professional identity, pharmaceutical ethics, communication, the pharmacist and society, environment and sustainability, lifelong learning. इन शॉर्ट, जब हमारा एक फार्मेसी ग्रेजुएट ग्रेजुएशन करता है तो उसको सिलेबस के साथ साथ में वो सारी स्किल्स भी अचीव करनी है सो दैट ही कैन अचीव ऑल दीज प्रोग्राम आउटकम, ऑल दी 11 प्रोग्राम आउटकम. So this include social responsibility, this includes the gratitudes, attitude, and also the knowledge part. So these all 11 program outcomes are very important for pharmacy graduation. So to achieve these learning outcomes, some methods of assessment are there. For course outcome, assessment tools for course outcomes are mid-semester and end-semester exams, tutorial, assignments, project work, labs, presentations, एम्प्लॉयर अलुमनी फीडबैक, ये सारे के सारे चीजें करके हम कोर्स आउटकम को अचीव कर सकते हैं या असेस कर सकते हैं. टू असेस प्रोग्राम आउटकम, firstly the course outcomes are assessed and these course outcomes are then mapped to program outcomes based on the relevance कि कौन सा कोर्स आउटकम कंप्लीट करने से कौन सा प्रोग्राम आउटकम हमें मिलता है. तो दैट काइंड ऑफ मैपिंग इज डन. इससे हमें पता चलता है कि हमारे स्टूडेंट्स ने कितने प्रोग्राम आउटकम्स है वो अचीव कर लिए. देन वी कैन फाइंड आउट द गैप एंड अकॉर्डिंगली सम एक्स्ट्रा लेक्चर्स, seminars, workshops can be implemented so that that gap can be fulfilled. And there are certain tools to measure program educational objectives are there. These tools are employer satisfaction survey. Through employer satisfaction survey, you can get this assessment part of program educational objectives. Through alumni survey, through placement records, we can assess program educational objective की 4 to 5 years ग्रेजुएशन के होने के बाद में हमारे जो स्टूडेंट्स, हमारे जो अलुमनाई जो प्लेस है वो इन ऑब्जेक्टिव्स को कितना वो अचीव कर पा रहे हैं. So these are some tools for the assessment. So if we summarize this whole outcome-based education system, so it is in a cycle. First, planning is there. We are supposed to plan the course learning outcome, the program learning outcome, program educational objective, and mission of our organization. Based upon this planning, we are supposed to adapt some teaching and learning methodology. This should include the learning processes, pedagogical methods, and course syllabus. And based upon these learning strategy, teaching and learning strategy, we can go for assessment of course, we can go for assessment of programs, we can go for assessment at the university level. And based upon these assessment, we can find out the gaps and we can fill that particular gap by improvement. The improvement in learning assessment, improvement in learning activities, and improvement in learning outcomes. Then this cycle goes on and goes on to because it is a continuous process. So this is about outcome-based education. This is the strength, weaknesses, opportunity, and threat analysis of OBE system that is already been covered in the text part. Now the benefits of OBE: clarity, flexibility, involvement, effectiveness of teaching. The OBE system gives a clear expectation of what needs to be accomplished by the end of the course by the students, because outcomes are already defined. So there is a clear picture what is to be achieved. So that clarity is generally given by the OBE system. This OBE system gives the flexibility. It provides an environment of flexibility with respect to time, with respect to the methods, or with respect to other parts, so that utilizing all this flexibility, all variety of students are capable to achieve the desired outcomes. Then involvement. Student involvement in the classroom is a key part of OP. Students are expected to do their own learning. There is a huge involvement of students. Only teachers are not responsible to teach, but student involvement is there in OP system. So as much as students are involved, so automatically their understanding and learning part will be improved later on. Then finally, effectiveness of teaching. Aside from providing educators ideas about the progress of students, it also informs them about the effectiveness of their teaching methodology. We can also analyze the effectiveness of our teaching methodology कि हमारा students किस तरीके से कितना learn कर पा रहा है, so that we can make some improvement in our teaching methodology also as part of benefits of OBE. These are some of the advantages of OBE system. There are some disadvantages also. The opponents believe that education should be an open-ended and should not be constrained by outcomes. जो अपोनेंट्स है वो कहते हैं कि जो एजुकेशन सिस्टम है केवल आउटकम तक ही लिमिट नहीं देना चाहिए. Critics of OBE objects to the use of standardized tests for improvised and racially disadvantaged students as they do for more advantaged students. They also claim that the OBE approach does not permit special lower standard for students who have been badly served by public education in the past. Critics say that there should not be given the flexibility for all kind of students. Regarding the outcomes, many opponents dislike them because they think the outcomes standards may be too easy, or sometimes they may be too hard or wrongly conceived. Lastly, some teachers find their grading workload significantly increases in OBE curriculum. Extra efforts are to be taken. So sometimes teachers find their grading workload significantly increases. So these are some of the disadvantages of this OBE system. Some pitfalls are there. We or many organizations may face some problems in implementation of this OBE system because the unclear and ambiguous setting of certain outcomes either for the teacher, a student or both hinders student achievement and teacher contribution in the curriculum. कई बार कुछ outcomes जो बनाए जाते हैं they are ambiguous in nature, they are not that much clear, so they can hinder this particular preparation of curriculum. The teacher's unawareness of the curriculum's outcome will limit the collaboration and cooperation between the faculty. Different faculty may prepare different kind of course outcomes and thereby dispute may arise. The improper assessment tool which we are adapting that doesn't match the aimed outcome sometimes. So this may be one of the pitfalls in its implementation. We can conclude this outcome-based education that this outcome-based education system helps teachers to tell students more precisely what is expected of them. This system helps students to learn more effectively. This system helps teachers to design their material more effectively by acting as a template for them. It makes it clear what students can hope to gain from following a particular course. This helps teachers select the appropriate teaching strategy matched to the intended learning outcomes like lectures, seminars, schoolwork, tutorial, etc. This helps teachers to tell their colleagues more precisely what a particular activity is designed to achieve. This also assists in setting examinations based on the material delivered to the students. This ensures that appropriate teaching and assessment strategies are employed. So these are some of the advantages, benefits, and this is how we can conclude this whole topic. So OBE teaches us to think, to learn, to acquire knowledge, and also to act. One important quote is given that thinking is a progress, non-thinking is stagnation of the individual, organization, and the country. Thinking leads to the action. Knowledge without action is useless and irrelevant. Knowledge with action converts adversity into prosperity. So, what is required? Knowledge with action is required, which can convert adversity into prosperity. So, this outcome-based education says that all students should be given equal opportunities and should be equally treated because, as per Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, the best brain of the nation may be found on the last benches of the classroom. So that is how this OB system is there. With this, thank you all for listening me patiently.
So if participant have any question, then they can ask to the sir. If any participant have any question, then they can ask to the sir. Balinder, Thori sir have lots of question, I think so. Sir, you can directly ask to the sir. Session is open for the question and answering.
Okay, sir, then I don't think there are questions.
Sir, you have nicely covered all the points related with the topic outcome-based education and its implementation. You rightly said what is the important in our life, destination or journey, as well as playing well or winning. What is the more important in our life? You rightly said about all the things. You have covered the outcome-based education with the traditional method to the newer teaching and learning methods. It's essential to upgrade our skill and ability to adapt the newer techniques because ultimately our goal is to give the best to the students. And you rightly said that better is the student centric, not the teacher centric, because sometimes we going to be a teacher centric. So it's good to be student centric. So your overall session is very good, sir, and it's very
Thank you.
informative. And thanks for giving your valuable time with us, sir. And kindly turn on video of kindly all the participants turn on their video. We will take the snap with the sir.